Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Patricia Peerley, and I'm back here with Akula Todd, the author of 3 books, My Testimony, The Brainwashing of Black America, and Date Smart, which we will be discussing today. This book is designed to give biblical principles to single women on issues relative to dating. So I would like to welcome back Ms. Todd.
Thank you kindly, Ms. Patricia.
Okay. Um, Today we're going to focus on chapter 2, which speaks on freedom, a man's right to choose. But I would like to digress for a moment just to inform the audience of the reason why or what inspired you to write the book, Date Smart.
What inspired me to write the book, which is a very good point, is there is so much heartache and frustration in relationships. And God gave me a faith-based approach to start teaching and relying on His Word so that relationships can be better with love, kindness, respect, freedom instead of control, problem solving, all of those Christian virtues that help our relationships. That's why.
Okay, so the underlying premise, if you was to sum that up, would be what?
A faith-based approach to relationships that the spiritual part is often missing. So to get back to that spiritual principles that God ordained for us from the beginning that helps our relationships be successful.
Perfect, wonderful. It's definitely needed in today's society. Okay, so let's get into chapter 2. Chapter 2 speaks on freedom, trust, and choices. When we talk about freedom in the confinement of a committed relationship, how does a mate enjoy what you termed in your book the institution of freedom while in a committed relationship?
That's an excellent question. And what that entails is the only person we can control is ourselves in a relationship. And so what we do is like God did in the Bible. He said those who are willing give.
Mm-hmm.
And so if a person said they were going to do something, He let them do it. He did not hound them. He did not chase them. He was not frustrated. So if they did it, they were willing to do it. If they weren't, did that hinder God in any kind of way? No, it didn't. So He's teaching us to be like Him, made in His image and His likeness, that we're not so easily hindered
Okay.
or frustrated.
True, that's true. However, we know going into a relationship, when we speak of relationships, it is a institution. It is somewhat confining, and you don't have the freedom to make your own choices because you have to consider that other person once, especially when we speak of marriage. You have become a unit with that person, so it's no more of what I want or my freedom. It is what's best for this relationship. So when we talk about freedom, how would you contrast where freedom ends and disrespect begins relative to the institution of freedom?
I love that. It's a perfect question. A lot of people want to know the answer to that. And what God gave me is you allow a person to love you enough to make the right choices for the relationship with teaching and maturing spiritually. You never want to control them into doing it, to respecting you. When they love you enough, they make the best choices for you and the relationship. But as we grow closer to Him and listen to Him, He teaches us how to do that. How can I respect you as a sister? How can I respect my mate as his wife? I don't ever want to control him and make him respect me, because that would not work. You see how hard that would be?
Yes.
I'm going to make you do the right thing. But if you love me, that means you want to do the right thing. And you may not know because you're ignorant that that's disrespectful. So we have a conversation about it. Sweetheart, that hurt my feelings. And because He loves you, He says, you know what? I don't want to hurt her feelings. I love her. She's my queen. She's God's gift to me. So I want to treat her right. That's the difference in freedom in the Spirit of Christ that allows a person to grow and love us than control, which is I'm going to make you do what I tell you to do. It's going to be my way or the highway. I hope that makes sense.
Okay, perhaps the next question will shed some light
Okay.
on the answer. if you can cite some examples on how a woman would communicate her basic needs to her mate without infringing on his freedom.
Okay, I love that, because in relationships, one thing we have to remember that is we will not always get our way. Okay, so first you think, you know what, I got to know that I'm not going to always get my way, and that's okay. So when you give up having to have your way in somebody else's life, that frees you from being frustrated, seething anger, hot and bothered because he doesn't do what you think he should or would. So if you want something and you're questioning your concern, you have a dialogue and you really explain why you want what you want. You explain how it's going to hurt your feelings. You explain your heart and your soul, and then you let him make the choice. Though you don't control, and he may not do it the first time, but in love you see potential. You see that I have something good. Yes, I didn't get my way that time, but let's see, he may in time come around. So that's love. Is that,
Well, I guess
are we getting there?
I guess what you're trying to convey to the audience is that a man is instructed to love his wife as Christ loved the church. So with that loving approach, then these freedoms should be a little bit more limited in terms of what he or she are, they're free to do. It's like you're in a relationship now, so you're not free to go and hang out with your boys every weekend because you have me. There's something to be considered when you're looking to forge a long-lasting relationship with someone, as opposed to looking at your own needs. So that his mate, you, the wife, needs to become the center of his attention and his center, and he needs to step back. And for you, he needs to become the center of your attention, and you need to step back.
And I love that. That's an excellent question, an excellent point, and an excellent situation that's real and relevant. So I say to that, as God is patient with us, that we had to grow and get there ourselves and do the right thing.
Right.
We are to be as patient with each other.
Yes, indeed.
We are so easy to give up, be frustrated and through. But God says long suffering for a reason, because he could be a good person. So he goes out, and as God convicts him to do the right thing by his beautiful wife, his beautiful lady, he's going to say, you know what, brothers, this time I don't want to be out here in the streets. I'm getting there. So we're all going to make mistakes. We're all not going to be perfect. We're all going to fall short but look beyond the fault, see the need, understand his freedom. So, because if you nag, ladies, which we can do, and we can force the issue, and then he's frustrated and distant. And so I get what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. All I'm saying is give him some leeway to come around.
Be patient.
Be patient. Thank you. Be patient.
Which we all need. Okay, so moving on. Regarding trust, in your book you quote Deuteronomy 22:18, which pertains to a prophet who speaks in the name of the Lord. How does this scripture correlate to a man in a committed relationship?
I love that, because it said there are false prophets. And so I love the Bible because it tells us how to not be manipulated. When a person says, I'm going to do something, so with a false prophet, to understand what is a false notion is a fake offer. Someone knows what you like to do and they offer that, and it's all manipulation. So the Bible says there are false prophets, and you will know him because what he says doesn't come true. So you listen to what a man says, and anybody, and then you believe it when it comes true. That way you don't believe the false notion or the fake offer.
So there are several statements made in chapter 2 about choices. And Deuteronomy 30:19 states, "This day I called the heavens and earth as a witness against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings or curses. Now choose life so that you or your children may live." Which tells me God gave men free will to choose whether they want to follow him or follow the way of the world. And in life, a person finds him or herself, where they find themselves at that moment in life, is a direct result of the choices that they made in the past. So the question I have for you is, how does a woman respect bad choices that her mate has made?
Well, I would say this, and when we look at ourselves and we look at the Bible and we look at our own growth, we know that we give a person leeway to make mistakes because we make mistakes ourselves. And then we realize, how did we grow and learn a better way? And I love the idea of edification as each of us disciples each other. Like, you may be excellent with money. You could help your mate with money. Now, he may be excellent with selling products, I don't know, and you want to sell Mary Kay one day. So he passes on his virtue and you pass on your virtue. As Christians, we exchange virtues. So we give him permission to make mistakes. We do. And we're soft and gentle in coaching him and directing him and guiding him in making better choices. And how we do that is we say the benefit of the way we're trying to teach him. This is the benefit and the value of doing it a different way. How about that?
That works.
Can you see that working?
I can see that working, depending on the severity of the mistake.
Okay.
You know, if it has detrimental effects on the household, the family, then it takes more than just coaching. It may take a little bit more pushing.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And
But
you
yeah.
also tell them the cost of that detrimental action.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Okay. So before we conclude today, would you please summarize what you would like individuals listening to this video to learn from our discussion?
What I would like the take home to be is for each of us, all of us, God's sons and daughters, to be people of our word, to bring confidence in our relationships by doing what we say we're going to do. That is so important. And then allowing each other to grow, but grow. You know, become more Christ-like in our dealings as individuals and how we treat each other for the success of our relationships.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, that ends our session for today, and we thank you all for your time, and we look forward to seeing you in chapter 3. All right.